Ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls, I'm joined by the cutest little fucking munchkin. Look at this little cutie pie. Look at those cute little cheeks. And we're going to talk about Mother Teresa, who also had incredibly cute cheeks. And even if you have no interest in Mother Teresa whatsoever, which I never used to before I read all of her books, holy crap, this woman had a whole bunch of really cool sayings that apply to self improvement, apply to sex, dating, relationships, business. This woman was an absolute hustler. Let's jump straight into the first quote. You want to read this one out?
Yeah, we must never be afraid to be a sign of contradiction for the world.
Yeah, and what she's kind of referring to here is like, if you don't know her full story, she did some pretty crazy stuff. She was like in her 40s or 50s, and she was like, I'm going to go to India and walk around the streets in the slums, which already is like risky as a small, she's 4'9", white woman who was Christian in a predominantly Hindu country, and I'm gonna like hold the hands of poor and the suffering and the dying and the hungry. I'm gonna give them food when I have no fucking money myself, no real plan for how I'm gonna do this, but I just know that that's my mission that the universe or God has given to me, and I'm gonna go and help people. That's already fucking insane. And in fact, her superiors in the church said no and said we need to make sure that you're not just doing this for your own like little ego reasons. You're not just trying to be like, look at me, I'm so great, I'm feeding the homeless, aren't I a good person? And so for 2 years they basically said we're going to wait until we feel like you're actually doing this for the right reasons. You're doing this for the homeless people, not for your own selfish, self-interest. And so she was already contradicting the church to some extent. She pushed and she sort of fought for it, and it took her quite a little bit of effort, a couple of years, before they finally said, okay, go do this thing. And she was a sign of contradiction. She also was around during the time of the Cold War between Russia and America. And both of those countries had an arms race to stockpile as many nuclear weapons as they could, to basically say, my stockpile is bigger than yours, my dick is bigger than yours, I'm more of a threat than you. And she was a sign of contradiction. She wrote letters to both countries and to the United Nations and gave all these public, you know, speeches and stuff saying, please, this isn't the way. She has another quote, which maybe we'll read out in a second, or maybe I'll just read it now, where she said, we do not need guns and bombs to bring peace. We need love and compassion. That's a sign of contradiction during the fucking Cold War when everyone else is saying Russia bad, America bad, let's just have more weapons. And so I see this quote not so much as like her saying deliberately go and be a contradiction. You can if you
Mm.
want to. But I see this more as like, look, if you have your own mission, if you have your own goals, your own meaning, some people might try and talk you out of that. Some people might say, oh, you want to go and meet women? That's shallow. That's stupid. You might say, I want to go to the gym and lose weight and have a beautiful body. There might be some people in your life that will say, that's shallow. Why
Mm.
do you care about your appearance? Appearance isn't the only thing that matters. And so sometimes you might be a contradiction for other people, but that's okay. If it's your meaning, if it's your mission, if it's something that's important to you, follow that fucking dream. In other words, follow your heart. Don't worry so much about the people who might be haters.
Yeah, and based on what you've said, Andy, I think my interpretation of this is along the lines, or a rephrasing of it might be, don't be afraid to go against the grain or do
Yeah,
things
don't be
that,
afraid to do your own shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
or do things that might mean that you don't fit in. Because, we have this very
Mm.
biological urge to socially fit in and be a part of the group and not be excluded. And it can be scary
Mm.
to question that, to risk people not agreeing with you or to be generally like disliked for your opinions. But and obviously like a lot of this is speaking about like follow whatever your truth is. It doesn't mean like go out and be a dickhead and make people hate you.
Mm.
It just means like
Yeah.
if something is calling to you, especially when it comes from those high places of love or peace or joy or giving or whatever it might be, that feels like a higher calling, don't be afraid to pursue that.
Yeah, some of you have really fucking beautiful, meaningful goals, and you're so afraid of the shame of it. Like some of you say, I want to go out and have sex and get laid. And I say, why do you want that? And you're like, well, listen, because when I was growing up, I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like I wasn't worthy. And I feel like if I can show myself that I'm worthy by doing this and having some peace and some love and some self love along the way, that would really be meaningful to me. And then I feel like I would be in a good position to actually give myself wholeheartedly to whichever woman I end up marrying, because I'll know I didn't just settle with the first woman who showed me some interest. I actually dated a little bit. I got some sexual experience. I got some dating experience. I got some intimacy,
Mm.
some communication practice. And I know that this woman that I've picked to be the mother of my children, I actually want to be with her because I had options. It wasn't just the first person that I had to pick. And so you might have that beautiful goal, but you feel a lot of shame about that. You're like, isn't sex bad? Isn't having a lot of sex bad? Not if you're honest and ethical and all the people that do it with you want to do it with you. How the fuck would it ever be bad? If somebody else thinks that it's bad, that's their business. That's just their opinion, man. But a lot of you have these goals, but you feel a lot of shame about it. You're worried about like cultural implications too. I've said this to you, I've worked with quite a few Muslim clients, like people that follow like Islam or their parents follow Islam, and they put a lot of shame that like that client has a lot of shame of like, I just want to, I mean, even the basic shit, like I just want a white girlfriend. So many Muslim people like want to get with someone that's of a different culture or a different faith or a different belief or a different fucking skin color. But a lot of religions and a lot of cultures and a lot of that can be quite, I guess you would say racist, but maybe a better way of phrasing that is like xenophobic. Like if you're not the same culture or the same belief,
Mm.
then we just don't want that.
Mm.
And it's not that we hate the other races. We're not like racist, but you could see it as racism, but whatever. And so lots of the clients like have this goal of like, I just want a nice white woman, or like this is a thing in Black American culture too. I've had a few clients that are African American, and they're like, I just want to get with a white woman. Like I like white women, and a lot of my friends shame me for that. They're like, bro, you got to get with a black woman. Like it's racist to get with a white woman. Like what do you got, like white fever or something? Lots of Asian people too. There are lots of people that want to date Asian, and there are a lot of Asian women that like white men, and there's a lot of shame and guilt around that. Anyway, getting a little off topic here, but when you have these goals or when something is important to you, yeah, other people might have something to say about that. They might have something to say that, like, if you want an open relationship, we get criticism from time to time. Well, it's not criticism, it's judgment. And that might happen sometimes. But if it's an important goal to you and you think that it would make your life better and you think that it would have a positive impact on the people around you, then by all means, fucking go for it. And don't worry what the world thinks of that. I like this next quote too. And if you're not religious and you're not Christian and you're not interested in the word Jesus, that's fine. Just see Jesus as this dude who walked around in the desert in sandals and gave some pretty good fucking messages.
Or
Jesus was like the best self improvement dude. Just think of it like that.
I could say with this particular quote, just remove Jesus altogether and just
Yeah,
take it
yeah,
out like as a
yeah,
quote.
yeah. So just see it as like Jesus, the self improvement guru, said, love one another. Jesus, the self improvement guru, said, love one another. He didn't say love the whole world.
Yeah, and I think the didn't Mother Teresa also say something along the lines of like when she was giving a speech saying just go home and love your wife? Like that's
So to be very clear, yeah. So when she won the Nobel Peace Prize, which she didn't want to accept because she was like, bro, I didn't do anything.
Mhm.
I'm accepting this on behalf of the homeless people. All the homeless people and the people in poverty, they are the ones that taught me all the beautiful lessons. They deserve this more than me. I just showed up and gave them some food. But these people taught me about unconditional love and compassion and being kind to people, and that everybody is deserving of dignity, even if they're covered in their own filth on the middle of a, poor street. So anyway, when she was giving that speech at the Nobel Peace Prize, somebody asked her, Mother Teresa, how do I be like you? And she was like, go home and love your family. And she's also talked about just smile at one person, like start small. She says, I cannot do big things. Sorry, I don't try and do big things. I only try and do small things with great love. And so she talked a lot about baby steps. And I've quoted her quite a few times because she had a lot of quotes about just taking a baby step, take some tiny action, do a tiny little bit, one at a time. I interrupted you.
yeah, but I feel like this quote is another rephrasing of that sentiment
Mm,
that it's about like making your bed, so to speak, and doing the thing that's in
mm,
your immediate vicinity, loving the
mm,
person that's next to you, or trying to make some sort of change in your immediate surrounds
mm.
rather than trying to start big and try and change
Yeah.
the world or love the whole world. Because for the average person, or basically for everybody, it's not really possible. And if you go from 0 to 100, you're probably going to get disheartened or feel
Yeah.
overwhelmed and not achieve much of anything. But when you do the thing that is right in front of you and you can see the results or the success or the direct impact straight away, that's what's not only more rewarding for you, but also more impactful because something's
You
actually
actually make a
happening. Like,
difference.
yeah,
Yeah.
something's
Yeah.
actually changing.
Yeah.
You've been able to directly affect the life of somebody in front of you versus trying to do these kind of big acts that maybe don't have as has as potent of an impact.
It's like that quote, learn to walk before you run. Like, stop trying to run before you can even walk. So many of you have these big, beautiful goals, which is amazing. But then you go, okay, I have to go from 0 to 100. So let's say you're a guy listening and you're a virgin and you want to lose your virginity. So many of you are like, all right, I got to go out and lose my virginity this weekend. It's like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? Start small. How about you start by taking one photo for your online dating profile? And then the next week, take another photo, or the next day, take another photo. Or you want to go outside and learn how to talk to women. Bro, you don't have to do 100 approaches in the first week. Go outside and try and smile at a woman and try and make some eye contact and try and start a conversation. If you can't do that, that's okay. Walk around for a day or two, just looking at women and trying your fucking best to smile at them or give them a compliment or be nice to them or say something or interact. If you can't even do that, walk around thinking about it for a couple of days or a week until you work up the courage to do it. So start really small. Stop trying to do everything at once. I literally had this conversation with one of the guys in the coaching group, one of the new guys that signed up, who starts with R, who did coach. This is his third time coming to coaching, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So he was putting all this pressure on himself to, he wants to start a business and all of that. So I talked about this in a recent video. I gave him the task of like, go make $1. So he did that. He went out and made his first dollar. He just asked someone for money for $1 and he got $1. And he was like, sweet. Do you know what he said is his next step? He's like, okay, I made $1. The next step is to make $500. And I was like, bro, calm the fuck down. Make $2. Because he was feeling all this overwhelming stress. And he's like, man, I have procrastinated for the last week and I haven't earned a single dollar because I've been feeling all this stress of like, how do I make $500? I'd have to have a product to sell. I'd have to have a good service. I'd have to have a business. I need how do I pay tax? Like, he's just overwhelming himself. And I was like, bro, start with the next step, which is earn $2 and then $3 and then $4 and then $5 and slowly escalate from that. He's been putting the same pressure on himself with his dating life. He's going, I have to have a girlfriend. And this is a guy, I think he's only had sex with like 2 women or something. And he's like, I have to have a girlfriend. I need to get a girlfriend. And I was like, bro, calm the fuck down. Like, what are you doing? Like that, because he's feeling stressed about that too. I was like, how about you go outside today and try and smile at some women and try and say hello to them and do that for a while. And then hit on some of them and ask them out and say, would you like to go on a date with me? And then go on multiple dates with the same woman so you can get some practice with dating and have a great time and tell her she's pretty and learn how to be honest and learn how to communicate, learn how to invite her back to your place in an honest way. Spoiler alert, you just say, would you like to come back to my place and make out? Would you like to come back to my place and fuck each other's buttholes or whatever you guys and girls are into? Figure that out together. But he's putting all this pressure on himself to just do everything. In the context of this quote, it would be the equivalent of saying, I need to love the whole world. It's like, bro, calm the fuck down. How about you just love the one person that's right in front of you? Can you love your best friend? Can you love yourself? You're the person that's in front of yourself all the time. Can you be nice to this one person who's in front of you? This is great business advice as well. This is all that I've ever done with building this business. And sometimes I have felt that pressure to go, I need to change everybody. I need to help the world. I need to save the world. I've had people come to live streams, or one person come to a live stream, remember, who was like, Andy, you need to save all the men. There's so many men in the world who are hurting, Andy, and it's your responsibility to save all of them and help them. And I was like, holy fuck, bro. The arrogance I would have to say that I'm going to save all men, Jesus Christ, like that wouldn't be very good for my humility, would it? But second of all, I'm doing that, bro. I'm helping one person at a time. I'm helping the person that's right in front of me. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help every single person one at a time. And that's how you build a business. You don't have to start at the very start by saying, I'm going to do the best job for all of my customers. The way that you then implement that is by the customer that's right in front of you. You say, what would you like from me? How can I give you a great service? How can I make you want to come back? How can I make you have a great time?
Yeah, and
How can I fulfill your needs?
a lot of the most successful or the biggest businesses.
Start with one person at a time.
Yeah, and if you go looking for like some, I guess, inspiring stories, a lot of big businesses or companies did start from like, it was like some
Yeah, like
shop that was run by a couple and they wanted to just like give a good product or give a good service, and that obviously meant something to people, and that was how I was able to grow and expand. And I think that's how, like, expanding in such a way and actually being able to have an impact on like a larger scale, it starts by starting small and being able, because that's what takes off, and that's what means something to people. Is if they get a lot out of something, then they're going to want to share it and spread that and like organic market for you or your business or whatever it might be. And that's how you then start having that big impact. It's not trying to go from 0 to 100 straight away,
Yeah.
because you're going to lose all of that heart if
Yes.
you're
Yes.
skipping all of the middle steps.
Yeah. Like, understand we didn't wake up at this, like, I didn't start this community or this stuff that we're doing by saying, hey, Amy, I want 50,000 YouTube subscribers. Let's make that happen. Fuck no. At the start, it was like, all right, this person here is suffering. How can I help them? This person here is confused. How can I give them some information? This person here is struggling with their dating life or their sex life or whatever. What advice would help that person? And I literally just did one person at a time. I still do that now. I am 100% focused on whichever person is talking to me. Yes, with these videos on the YouTube channel, I'm just doing a video, but a lot of the time, I will answer one person's question or comment in a video, or I will be thinking of one of my coaching clients and I will do a video on that. And if you look in the comments, you guys and girls will leave comments. I reply to just you. I'm talking to just you, that one person that left that comment. So I have just built this shit one person at a time, literally just one person at a time. And I will continue that when we're big and, who knows how big we get. I'd like to get big. Like, that's something that we would like, but that's not the focus. Like, the focus is this person would like some help. How can I help them? All right, on to the next person. And that's all Mother Teresa ever did. Like, understand that she never had the plan to like change the world or win a Nobel Peace Prize or be like a name that we still talk about like 30 years later. Like, she's fucking famous. That was never her goal at all. Like, that was the opposite. In fact, she was kind of a little mortified at winning the Nobel Peace Prize. And she begged her superiors in the church. And she's like, I don't want to accept this, please. Like, I don't want to accept this. And they were like, Mother Teresa, listen, like, you're doing a lot of good in the world. Go and accept this award because it'll bring more people to your message. And then you'll inspire people. You can give a great speech at the Nobel Peace Prize ceremony. You can inspire people to go and love people and, change the world a little bit at a time. All of that shit. So we want you to accept the award. And she's like, fine, but I'm not accepting it on behalf of me. And that's why she said, speech, I'm accepting this on behalf of the homeless and the poor and the downtrodden and the forgotten and the people that feel unloved because they deserve this. I didn't fucking do very much. I just showed up and gave them some rice and some love. So, yeah. And even then, she talked about the love and she's like, it's not me loving, it's my God. And it's, my Jesus and all of that. It's the love that I was born with. I didn't earn this love. It was just inside of me. I'm just fucking giving what other people gave to me. She talked about that too. She said other people had been really nice to her all of her life. The Bible had been really helpful to her. Her religion had been very loving and helpful to her. Most of the people that she worked with had been very loving. She was inspired by quite a few saints before her, like Saint Teresa of Avila and I forget the name, but her nickname was like the Little Flower, whatever. Any of you who are religious, you'll know who I'm talking about. But she was inspired by a lot of other people before that she learned from. This is why you'll hear me a lot of the time talk about the people that inspired me. Caleb Jones, Chris from Good Looking Loser, Mark Manson, Byron Katie, David Hawkins. These people. I like to recognize the people that helped me. And so any of the love that I feel or any of the advice that I'm giving to any of you, that didn't come from me, that came from all of them. And then where did they get it? They got it from the people before them. So she was very good at sharing that love, but that's sort of a side tangent. Any more you want to add on this or we move on?
Moving on. And the next quote that we have is that we ourselves feel that what we are doing is just a drop in the ocean, but the ocean would be less because of that missing drop.
Yeah, I have so much to say on this. A lot of the time when you're taking action, you might be taking some tiny little baby steps and you're like, these baby steps are pathetic. I'm not really changing my life. Like me going outside and smiling at a few women is not getting a girlfriend. That's pathetic. I'm not doing anything. I'm not achieving anything. But it's like, you have no idea how much that stuff can start to snowball. That momentum starts to build. You start to take bigger baby steps. You start to take bigger, massive steps. And then before you know it, you have achieved your goal. So we can look at that quote in terms of that lens. We can also look at the quote in terms of what happens if you're just fucking honest with people. We talk all the time on this channel about being honest, particularly in dating and business. Like, holy crap, those are two amazing opportunities for you to be honest because a lot of people are not. A lot of people just aren't able to be honest in dating. They would like to be, just nobody's come along and told them, yo, you can just say what you want. You can just be completely opposite, completely honest with the opposite sex or the same sex if you're into that. And so I see this as a beautiful reminder that just doing the basic stuff that we talk about on this channel, which isn't basic, it can take some courage, of being honest, of being kind, of being compassionate, of saying to people, hey, I want whatever you want. And if you don't want to date me, that's beautiful. I don't want you to date me if you don't want to. If you want to break up with me, then break up with me. I want you to. Like, I want you to do whatever you fucking want. I don't want to feel that anxiety of trying to control you and keep you here and force you. That doesn't feel good
Mm.
for me. And I know it doesn't feel good for you. And so I want whatever you want. If you're just doing those basic things, you have no idea how much of an impact that can have on other people's lives. If you're just nice to people, like you go out onto the street and you just smile at some strangers, you're like, hi, how's your day going? You don't know what that person was going through. They might have been having the shittiest day. And because you smiled at them, now their day's a little brighter. They might have even been going home to kill themselves. You don't know. If you smile at 10,000 people, chances are one of them was probably feeling suicidal, and you might have been their reason for living. That might seem dramatic, and so you can think a little bit less. Just you smiling cheers someone up a little bit.
And I think for everyone watching and or listening, you probably have those moments where you do recall like, oh, I remember that compliment or that nice thing that somebody did from
For me,
such, yeah, for
yeah,
such a long time ago, but
yep,
it still sticks in my brain because it was really unexpected or it was really lovely or it just really made my day. And so if you have a couple of those, think about like just giving that experience to other people.
yeah. Like it's best summed up by this meme. Hey, I fucking love this meme. You see in the top panel, girls, and then hundreds of compliments they received from guys, and then down the bottom, guys, that one time an old lady called them honey. And look at SpongeBob's little happy face. There's actually, if you search for this meme, and there's a Reddit where they post this meme, and a bunch of guys talked about the compliments that they got years ago and how they still hold on to them. You know, guys going like, one time this like very attractive young lady told me that I had a nice sweater, and I've always remembered that, and that's really stuck with me. Or like one time a girl told me that, you know, I said, hey, you're cute, and she said, you're cute too. And I never forgot that. I've always stuck with that, or that's always stuck with me. So yeah, it's funny with compliments. You never realize the impact that they might have on somebody's life, especially if we're talking about just being nice to strangers when it's not expected.
Mm.
And so something that you and I have talked about that I've been trying to do more of recently is every time I see someone just working their job, like let's say I see a construction worker or a restaurant like waiter or something, I would just say to them, "You're doing a good job," and like. Yeah, some of them really smile and they have a big smile on their face. Or like people that clean. Like you go to a shopping mall and there's people walking around cleaning and shit. How often do you think those people get a fucking compliment? Or when you're in the toilet and like the cleaner is like cleaning the bathroom and shit. Like just say to that person, hey, I appreciate you cleaning all this. That's cool. Like, thanks for doing that. They're like, holy fuck, this is the first compliment I ever got in this entire fucking job. Thank you. I love you. What's your fucking Instagram? Because I'm gonna fucking DM you $1 billion to say thank you.
Yeah.
That probably won't
No.
happen. Don't expect that. But like, yeah, you never know the impact that a simple smile will have. Mother Teresa, that's a Mother Teresa quote, basically. We never know the impact that a simple smile will bring.
Mm. And I think the beautiful thing about it, and there's variations of quotes about this sort of thing, but it doesn't cost anything to give that, and yet you're able to generate a lot of joy and happiness. Like it takes nothing from you. If anything, it gives back to you because you feel good, they feel good,
Yeah,
and everyone's just feeling a whole lot better.
yeah. We talk about this in dating and sex and casual sex and relationships and all of that too. Like praise your partner, you know. Hey, you did a good job. Hey, I appreciate you making dinner. Hey, that was amazing. You know, even just a casual sex partner. After you guys have sex, just send her a message or send him a message and say, hey, that was really fun. You know, it was really cool. I really appreciated that. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. I had a really nice time. Just like basic shit. And then you'll see they'll praise you back most of the time. They'll give you a compliment back. You feel good. They feel good. You're like, holy crap. Again, you don't know the impact that you will have on people's lives by just being nice to them. The same thing happens if you're just there for a brother or a sister. I don't mean like a literal family member, but like if you're there for one of the people in this self improvement community or some other self improvement community, and you just say, hey, bro, like I promise you're going to be okay. Like so many of you write so many nice fucking comments to each other. I will see someone write this long
Oh.
YouTube comment saying, like, I'm struggling, like I'm just really depressed and I just don't know if I'm ever going to make it. And someone will come in, they'll be like, hey, brother, I'm not Andy, but like I promise that you're gonna make it, dude. Just like hang in there. I used to feel like you do. Like I promise you got this. Like that shit. You have no idea how much those like one or two paragraphs that you just wrote to that person could positively impact their life. Like you don't know. I know because I work with coaching clients and they will tell me, like they will give praise to each other and say, you got this, bro. And then I will do a one-on-one coaching call with that person and they'll say, hey, you know how like Tom, I just made that name up. You know how Tom wrote that reply to my post and he said like, you're gonna make it. Bro, I was thinking about that like all week. Like that kind of made me cry, bro. Like I haven't told him that because I feel like a little weird about telling him that, but like, bro, that like literally made me cry. And I'm like, yeah, bro, like tell him that. Do you want to tell him that? Because that's really beautiful. So I see the impact because people tell me. But you, when you leave that comment, you might not know. I also see the impact because I've been doing this for years. I've been replying to people with nice things. I've been giving you guys and girls coaching and content. Like, we get the emails. We get the long emails from someone saying, bro, I was literally going to kill myself. I literally had a fucking date that I was going to kill myself. And your content just kept making me procrastinate it and put it off. And you literally like have saved my life. Like, we get those nice fucking emails. And so we get to see the impact of just a little nice comment here, a little bit of kindness there, a little motivation. And it doesn't take anything crazy, like you said. Even if you just say, bro, you got this. Or what would you say to a woman? Bro-ette.
Hun, love, sweetheart, darling.
Nah, bro-ette. Hey, bro-ette, you got this. You know, even if you just say something small like that, or if you're dating someone casually and you say, how was your week? And they go, oh, like it wasn't that good. If you're just like, oh, do you want to talk about it? Like, what's up? What happened? And they talk about it for 10 minutes and you listen and you're like, oh, I promise everything will be okay. It's okay. I felt like that too. You know, I promise you'll be okay. Like, if you just say that, you didn't even say anything that exciting. You're just like, I promise you'll be okay. And then she hears that or he hears that and they're like, wow, thank you for fucking listening. I thought that we were just like having sex, but you actually give a shit about me. Thank you. That means a lot to me. Like, you genuinely made my day better. Do you remember the girl? I can probably just say her name. No, I won't say her name. Started with N.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know who I mean. Do you remember there was a day when she was talking about how she really wasn't happy with her boss and she felt really like victimized at her workplace and she just wasn't happy at all?
Mm-hmm.
And I just like casually threw it out there. I was like, you know, you can just like quit and ask to work somewhere different. And she was like, wait, really? And I was like, yeah, why don't you just like quit and work in a different department? Or I can't remember what, it was like a different department or something. And I was like, why don't you just ask if you can get transferred? And so then she comes back like a week later and she's like, oh my God, I did it. Like, I asked and they said yes, and I work somewhere else and my boss is super nice now. And like, you don't understand how much of a weight off my shoulders that is. Like, I feel so much better now because I did that. It's like, that was the most like small, basic one sentence that I just wrote. I'm like, why don't you just quit? And then it's like, oh, I didn't think of that. And so just the tiniest little fucking things that you do, you have no idea the impact or the ripple that they can have on someone else's life when you didn't even mean to. And this is why we talk about practicing honesty, being compassionate as much as you possibly can. You don't have to be perfect with those things, but just working on being a little bit more kind, a little bit more honest, a little bit more raw, a little bit more real, a little bit more authentic, lie a little bit less. Like, these things have a big fucking impact. And we'll do one more in this video. You are greater than you know. This is Mother Teresa talking to all of you and telling you that you are all a bunch of absolute fucking legends. Like, literally, that was her quote. I'm pretty sure she just straight up said it like that too, right? She's like, you're all fucking legends.
I think this is a really beautiful one, but also maybe something that you could easily dismiss, or you'd find it on like motivational quotes on Instagram page with like a sunset in the background.
Yeah.
But I think when you actually give it some pause and meditate on what's actually being said, it's understanding that you have a lot to give and you can have a lot of impact and you can achieve very great things. Like, I
Yep.
feel like that's the essence of a lot of this video, is that like you can have a huge impact if you channel your energy in the right way. But I think the extension of that, or maybe what you can add on top of that, is this quote, which is that you you can have a huge impact. Like, that's, you're fully capable of that and having profound change. Like, not only will it have a huge effect, or not only is it possible that you can help the people around you, but you can achieve really great things if you understand your own power and your own abilities, and that it is possible of anybody to have an enormous, profound impact on other people around you.
And your own life too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see this as her saying to all of you, you have no fucking idea what you are capable of. Like, almost all of you have a ton of limiting beliefs. You're like, I'm too old, I'm too short, I'm too bald, I'm too this, I'm too ugly, I'm too fat. You know, my hair's not long enough, I'm not pretty enough. Like, you have all these limiting beliefs. You have no fucking idea how wrong those limiting beliefs are and how much they are just absolute bullshit that you've believed, that maybe someone told you or maybe you just imagined it. But like, that shit is so unbelievably false. For an example, what do I say at the start of every one of my videos, or a lot of my videos?
You say all sorts of stuff at the start
Okay,
of
well,
your
fucking
videos.
hell. Like, what's the motto of this YouTube channel then? I think that's what I mean.
Like the "you sure as hell can" too.
I went from,
Depressed and suicidal to living a life of abundance and joy.
Yeah, stop and think about that. I went from depressed and suicidal. Actually sit in that for half a second. Don't just listen to it as some shit that I say at the start of the video. Stop and think about what it might be like to be depressed and suicidal for 8 years, starting from when I was like 14 years old. Think about what that would actually be like. Then I went to prison for 6 months. Think about what that might be like, what that might feel like, what you might feel like if you were in that situation. I went from that to where we are now, to where I can feel abundance and joy every single day, to where I have unbelievable gratitude for all of you, for you. Look at these cute little face. Who wouldn't be grateful for this cute little face? For my family, for all of my friends, for just the world, for existence, for being alive. That's not a small thing. Stop and think about, like, if you met someone who's depressed and suicidal, would you expect them to do the stuff that we've done? And I haven't done it all myself. Like, I'm not taking all the credit for it, obviously. But, like, would you expect that person to end up, like 15 or 20 years later in this position? Would you expect the guy that went to jail to be, to have let go of that shame and that guilt and that self hatred that you might feel if you went to jail or if you were depressed or if you were suicidal? Like, would you expect that? Probably not. You probably wouldn't guess that. You'd probably be like, this guy's depressed and suicidal. He's probably never going to make anything of himself. He'll probably just kill himself. I had a plan to. I told myself, if I ever make it to my 30th birthday, I have to kill myself. I'm too scared to do it now. I really want to. But if I make it to my 30th birthday, that's when I die. I'm not going a day over 30. Like, that was a fucking promise to myself. And so you wouldn't expect that person to make a big thing or make anything of themselves. If I can do that, you sure as fuck can achieve whatever goals you have. And I've worked with so many depressed and suicidal people. We've interviewed one of them on the channel, a lovely woman named Thea, and she was depressed and she was suicidal when she came to me. And we basically did therapy. We'd do these long, like 3 hour long therapy sessions every few weeks. And she got to a point where she ended up being happy and she changed her diet. She lost a bunch of weight. She got a job. She ended up finding a boyfriend. They ended up getting married. All of this beautiful stuff happened. Time and time again, I've done a ton of interviews with people that do the same thing. And so see all of those stories and go, holy shit, these were people who were not supposed to, achieve something. They were supposed to be depressed, suicidal. They weren't supposed to be happy. They were never supposed to make anything of themselves. And look at what they were able to achieve. Maybe I can do it. Maybe just because I'm bold, it doesn't have to be a limiting excuse. Just because I hate myself, maybe I can work through that. Just because I have mental health issues. A lot of you have mental health issues. I'm ADHD, I'm neurodivergent, I have autism, I'm schizophrenic, I have manic depressive disorder. I have any of these fucking personality disorders or mental illnesses. You can work through those things. I've seen enough people work through those things. I work through those things. I've worked with people who are manic depressive and stuff like that. And so you're able to heal those things. You're able to just take the same process that everybody else uses, which is give yourself permission to suck at the start, take some baby steps every day or as many days as you can, and then just keep going. Like, that's it. That's the process. And so this is one of my favorite quotes of hers. She's like, you have no fucking idea what you're capable of. And to be very clear, she is not the person that was supposed to do big, great, amazing things. Like, this woman, she was a fucking midget, bro. She was like 4'9" and she had severe arthritis and her hands couldn't close sometimes. And she was like hunched over. Like, if you look up pictures of her, she's always like hunched over. She was like a tiny little frail woman who weighed nothing. She went to the slums in one of the poorest countries in the world and was like, bro, I'm going to help these people. I'm going to help one person at a time and I'm going to try and give them a little dignity before they die. Hopefully I save them from dying, but if they die, I just want them to die knowing that they were loved. At least one person in the world loved them, or they felt a little bit of love. Like, this woman fucking had a big impact on the world when she didn't really plan to. She didn't really mean to. She didn't really think she would. If this chick can do some crazy shit, I love calling Mother Teresa a chick, by the way. I find that really hilarious. If this woman can do some absolutely amazing things when she's that fucking small, you all can do some amazing big things too. And one of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite people, David Hawkins. So many of you worry that you're ugly or that you're unattractive, or you men, you worry about being short. You're like, but I'm not 6 foot, therefore no woman will get with me. Ready? Socrates was short and ugly. Look it up. And he's fucking Socrates. So you have no excuses. Your limiting beliefs are just that, beliefs. They are not limiting facts. And you have no idea what you're capable of. And that's one of my favorite quotes of her. You have no idea how great you are. You have no idea what you're capable of. Anything to add, short lady?
I'm
Because
not that
you're like
short.
4'1" yourself, right?
I'm 5'7".
You have a friend who's like 4'11".
She's under 5 foot.
She's a little midget. I like
She's
her.
real short.
You have to like lean down, and her whole family's small. So when I met her and her family, I had to lean down to hug her, lean down to hug her boyfriend, lean right down to hug her mum, lean down to hug the auntie, lean down to hug the dad, and I was just like getting a sore back there. I was like, oh goodness, like oh yeah, I don't usually come down to this area of Earth. They're
Yeah,
really nice people. They're like the nicest people too.
they
Like
are
let's
nice
not throw
people.
shade at them. They're
Hmm.
like the sweetest, nicest fucking people ever that you'll ever meet. Anyway.
Basically, short people are great.
Yes. If you'd like more help with any of this, obviously I have coaching. I will leave a link in the description below to that. We've had a metric fuck ton of people sign up for coaching in the last like 2 weeks.
Like a lot more than
Like
usual.
10 people or some shit.
Not that many, but a lot more
Yeah,
than
no,
usual.
think about it. Like okay.
Figuring out how to
Like 7
count.
people. And then there's two calls that I'm doing today to see if they want to sign up. One call today, one call tomorrow to see if they want to sign up. And they're
Sure.
brothers. How
Basically,
cool is that? We got
that is
2 brothers
exciting.
apply
So
for the
initially,
coaching
when they
program.
reached out, we were like, "What's this?
Yeah, because they have the same surname,
Are they the
obviously.
same
Yeah, they have
people?"
the same surname. And I
The
was like,
email was like basically the same, and you're like,
and they're both from the same area, and their email address is basically the same thing. Like maybe they work at the same company together or something. But like, so their email was almost identical.
yeah,
And so I was like, is this just the same person, but like he's used 2 different email addresses or
and
some
two
shit? And
names.
it's like, nah, it's 2 brothers. So
Yeah,
wouldn't that be cool if we had 2 brothers in the coaching program?
yeah.
And one thing that we get everyone to do in the coaching program is we pair them up with another person for accountability. Right. Because I did a voice message. I often record like a voice message for people when they apply to the coaching program. I'll read through everything they said and I'll give them like a bit of like almost like free coaching or something to just make sure they're a good fit for the program and go back and forth a bit. So I recorded one of them a voice message and I said like, bro, I really want, like you guys can do whatever you want, but fucking hell, there's part of me that really wants you both to sign up for the story, for how hilarious that will be. And if you both sign up, I'm going to make you both be accountability partners with each other. That'd be hilarious. It's like put the 2 brothers together.
But point being, and we were saying this yesterday, that it is really great when we do have quite a lot of people in the program because there's more
You get
momentum
momentum,
and
yeah.
everybody is encouraging each other, and it's very encouraging to see lots of other people in the group having lots of success.
Kicking ass.
Yeah, it's very inspiring. There's obviously a lot more people to support you. And I think on top of that as well, and it's something that you've commented on quite a bit, like obviously I'm not in the group, so I'm not necessarily seeing what's happening day to day, but you tell me a lot about it and obviously we share a bit about it. But you say that often, especially like guys who are coming for similar goals or in similar situations, it can be very motivating for seeing somebody who's in an almost identical situation to you or wanting to work on the same things finding success. It's like, oh, holy shit. It's like,
He can do
there's,
it, I can
yeah,
do it,
there's
yeah.
proof right in front of me that someone who is very similar to me in terms of circumstances or where I'm at is doing the things that I want to achieve.
Yeah.
Therefore, it must be possible for me.
Yeah, generally we try and put people together if they're working on similar goals or if they're in a similar situation. Like if 2 guys are virgins or inexperienced, we'll pair them up. And you're right. There sometimes is like a bit of friendly competition. We have 3 guys in the group. Okay, we had 3 guys in the group who were all virgins or inexperienced. Now one of them has lost his virginity, and one of them had all that sexual experience anyway. So there's only like one guy who's left as a virgin. But like we had a friendly little competition going. It was very friendly, but we're like, all right, whoever like does it first, whoever meets a woman first and has a great experience first, like you win a prize. And I didn't actually have a prize. Like I just said like, good job. But
Well, no, it's funny actually because there was,
sometimes we've had prizes. I've given people money and shit. I'm like, I'll
have
give
you?
you $100 if you like do this first.
I think you
I'll give
said
you a free coaching
like an
call with me.
audience member, like a stuffed toy at some point. Do you remember
I
that?
did. Yeah, we sent some guy. I said this. I had some competition on the channel. This was like a year ago, and I said, if you win, yeah, I will buy you like I can't remember what I said. I'll buy you whatever you want. And he wanted like some Pikachu or some anime fucking stuffed toy. We did. Remember, we searched hard for that, and it got lost in postage or something. So I
did
sent him
it?
a second one, and then he ended up getting 2. No, remember?
I don't
Yeah,
remember all
and then
those
he sent an
details.
email, and he's like, "Bro, here's the fucking toy. I really appreciate this. I can't believe you actually did this. Like, yeah, bro, I said I would. Of course I would." So
Yeah, but point being, oh, and actually one more story, just because I think it was really sweet. One of your previous clients has come back because we ran a like past client offer for people who've been clients in the past, come back at a massive discount, and he was signing up again. And in the email, he sent a picture of him and one of his accountability partners, like grabbing lunch together or something.
We get that all the time though. That's so common.
But
Like people in the coaching program will travel to meet each other and they'll take selfies together. That's so fucking cool. That
sure,
makes me happy.
you did interrupt, but the
No, I never interrupt you
point,
ever. When do
riffing
I
off
ever
what we were
interrupt you?
saying
Name
before,
one
was
time when I ever interrupt you. Ready? And we'll get like 500 YouTube comments from saying like Andy keeps interrupting Amy and she's getting frustrated.
very patient.
You are very patient.
But the
Girl.
point being, in said email, he commented on the fact that they were kind of like friendly rivals throughout the time in the
Yeah,
coaching. And so it
yeah,
was like, obviously they were friends. And so it was nice that they were able to like catch up in
yeah,
person and
yeah.
see one another. And I thought that was cute. So join the program. There's lots of
If you
amazing
want to,
people.
yeah.
It's
Now
a
would
good
be the
time to
perfect
join.
time. Now would be the fucking perfect time to join. Not even just saying that. There's so much momentum in the group right now. There's people working on every goal that you could imagine. There's a couple of people in there for business. There's a couple of people in there for sex and dating. One guy in there for relationships. There's like multiple guys. So some of the people that have come back to do like a second round of coaching, all of them have said what I want to work on is happiness, peace, loving myself, like
That's
enjoying my
cool.
life, gratitude, stuff like that. So there's lots of people
Yeah,
working
which
on
is so
everything.
cool because when they came, there was a little bit more of like a fear and not feeling, or they were also almost, for the most part, especially a few years ago, a lot of clients were very focused on sex and gaining sexual experience, and that was all they cared about
Yeah.
because obviously, like not having had it would be very important to you. And I think it's really beautiful that they've almost moved past that in a way. Like they feel like comfortable or confident enough in achieving that, in having sexual experience, in meeting women that it
Well, some of
doesn't,
them have girlfriends now.
yeah,
Like,
that doesn't need
yeah.
to be like a focus anymore. And they've moved on to other things, which is really cool to see.
Yeah. And before we wrap up, I really want this. I
You're
would
an
like,
adult.
I would like you
You
to
can
buy
get
me. No, I
yourself
need
that.
you to buy me this as a present for like Christmas. It's a little Mother Teresa plushie. You can't say that's not fucking adorable.
It's
Look
very
at that
cute.
shit.
I already got
Baptism
your
gift. It's a baptism gift.
I
I'm
already
not
got
getting
you a
baptism.
present. I actually got you a surprise. Could sleep.
Confirmation gift. What does that mean? What's confirmation? I actually don't know that much about like. I know bits and
Oh,
pieces
that's like
about.
when you're
You get
like
confirmed.
8 or like 10 or something, and
What are you getting
it's oh no
confirmed
no no
as? Like
no 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 no
human?
no. It's
Like
when you're allowed to go and eat the bread and drink the wine.
see, I
Like
never got
after
to
you've
do
done
that.
that.
I never got to do that. I wasn't really raised religious, but my granddad was, and so sometimes I'd rock up to church, and holy shit, I love church. That was so fucking cool. And like I was always jealous. I was like, how come they get to eat the little bread and they have
So
the
I'm pretty
wine?
sure you can
And he was
only
like,
do
because you're
that
not baptized, son. And I was like,
after. No, it's not baptized. Yeah, I think it's after you do a
can someone
confirmation.
confirm me? Like any of you out there, are there any of you that are like church ministers or whatever? Can you
You could
baptize
just
me?
go to a local church and get it done if you can.
Really?
Yes.
Do I get to eat the bread then?
Yes, but you don't go to church.
Do I get to drink the wine?
Yes, but you don't go to
I reckon what we do
church.
is we do all the different
Also,
religions.
you're not drinking at the
Let's
moment.
do all the different religions. Listen, hear me out. So we could do like we become. The thing is, lots of religions. Ready? Let's get all political about this. Lots of religions get very insecure if you like a different religion. Like pretty much every religion is like ultra
You
fucking
need to like
insecure. Yeah,
release the previous one in order to start
yeah.
the new
So
one.
and countries are like that too. To be fair, countries are like you have to give up your
You can
citizenship
have
before you can have. Yeah, but they
dual.
only let you have dual. It's like
Is you in
actually,
that
that's not
too?
true. You can have multiple. You can get residency and shit like that. But countries still get insecure about this. They're like, "Oh, you're Australian. Like, why don't you want to be American?" You're like, "No, I love America. I want to be both." And that, maybe it just makes us feel a little bit like you don't love us and like we're not special. That's religion. Straight up religion's like, "Oh, you like to wear the fucking burqa or whatever, but you also want to come and hang out with Jesus." To be fair, there's lots of people in religions that are very
Sure.
open-minded. There's something called Zen, Catholicism. Buddhism is obviously very open. There are parts of Islam that are open, like not Wahhabism. You know, the people that fly the plane and go, "Nee," like
So you think
I've
that
ostracized the whole
you
audience
think
by
that
now.
this is a
Have I
bit,
ostracized the whole
but
audience by
Auntie's
now?
just like this all the time.
Have we ostracized everyone? I love all religions, except Wahhabism. Fuck you. No, not fuck you. That's not how you overcome Wahhabism. I love you,
I
Wahhabism.
think you're
Come for
actually
a
the
hug.
most focused when we record content, but this is closer to what it is day to day.
Anyway, now that we've ostracized all religion, I have nothing but love in my heart for all of you. I have nothing but love in my heart for Saint Teresa of Calcutta, as in Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
She was short. She was probably the size of this plushie. Like, honestly, this is probably a life-size plushie. And so
Go out there.
go out there, crush your goals, and you are greater than you know.